Hello and welcome to Sault Online. Today we're at Bryan Hayes campaign headquarters on Bay Street. Hi Bryan.
Hi Mike, how are you? Nice to see you again.
Let's start with taxes. What are your plans for raising or lowering taxes for the low-income people, and are you going to lower taxes for corporations as has been reported?
Actually, right now there's no intention to lower the corporate tax rate. When we formed government, the corporate tax rate was at 21%, and since that time we now have the corporate tax rate at 15%. And it's the NDP that actually want to raise the corporate tax rate from 15% to 17% in this volatile economy, especially with some of our major employers. That's a real big hit to their bottom line, and we don't think that that's appropriate. In terms of small businesses, we absolutely are going to reduce the small business tax rate from 11% till 9%. And I think that's across the board. I believe the NDP and perhaps the Liberals might have indicated that they were going to do that as well. What we will do moving forward, and we've gone on record, is what's referred to as a tax freeze. So if we form government again, we will guarantee during the mandate of our government that we will not raise personal taxes, we will not raise corporate taxes, we will not raise business taxes, and we will not raise payroll taxes.
But the taxes for lower income people definitely won't go down either.
Well, right now the tax rate is 15%, the personal tax rate for low-income people. And in our platform, I don't believe that we've mentioned lowering the tax rate. What we have said is, first and foremost, we'll balance the budget, which we have done. Then moving forward, if the economy continues to perform, we will absolutely look at lowering tax rates. We haven't made that commitment because it's dependent upon the performance of the economy, quite frankly.
Okay, pensions.
Yes.
What are your plans for the CPP and old age pension? Is there going to be an increase there for the pensioners?
With respect to CPP, right now, we don't believe that a change to CPP is appropriate. CPP is, in fact, a tax on our businesses. And if you increase the business taxes, again, that's going to hurt our businesses. At this stage of the game, the world economy, the global economy is still very, very fragile. Moving forward, we may look at CPP, but right now, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, the Ontario or the Canada Chamber of Commerce, they're all saying, don't change CPP. That will hurt our businesses. They've done surveys of their businesses, and the overwhelming majority of the businesses are saying, don't do what Justin Trudeau wants to do. Don't allow him to bring in the Kathleen Wynne pension plan and bring that forward to CPP. That will hurt our businesses. Right now is not the time to raise taxes on our businesses.
Okay, but how about the old age pension?
Old age security, when we formed government, we brought forward the largest GIS increase in Canadian history for old age security. Also, what we've done with old age security is, you got to realize that program came in 1970. At that time, there were 7 people working for every 1 person collecting old age security. Today, there's 4 people working for every 1 person collecting old age security. 20 years from now, there's going to be 2 people working for every 1 person collecting old age security. Right now, the cost of old age security is about $32 billion to taxpayers. In 20 years from now, that cost is going to be $108 billion. This is why we're raising the age of collecting old age security from 65 to 67. It's because of the demographics, and we're doing what many, many, many other countries have done because of our aging population. And US for one, Australia for one. And we got to understand, we need that old age security there for my children and their children. So it has to be sustainable, and that's the reason that we've raised the age from 65 to 67. And it's nothing that, we gave, I think, 17 years notice. Like, I'm 57, I think I'm the first person that will have a small impact, and then it'll phase in. So that's why we've done things like introduce the tax-free savings account. That's why we've introduced pooled registered savings plans. We're giving people other opportunities to save for their future.
Which brings me to the high unemployment rate in the Sault. You've heard that it's over 12% now. What can you do as our MP to help lower that number?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that low taxes are the way to keep people working. Right now, if we raise taxes on SR and Tenaris, that's detrimental. If we raise EI, if we introduce a CPP plan that the Liberals want to introduce, that's the last thing we want to do. What we need to do is continue with our resource development, sustainable resource development. If you want to see Tenaris turn around really quickly, to get the oil sector moving again, let's get the pipelines built across Canada. And that is something that is opposed by the NDP and the Liberals. But if you talk to the management of Tenaris, they will tell you, right now, they need to get their product to market. And moving it by pipeline is the most efficient way to get product to market, not by moving it on rail cars and tying up our transportation system. So we need to have sustainable resource development. We need to keep our taxes low. We need to do things such as our government did by providing a $30 million interest-free loan to SR so that they can go through their modernization process so that they can grow their business. And we need to provide tax incentives to our corporations, targeted investments, and that's exactly what we've done, and that's exactly what we'll continue to do.
I think in my heart that the number one issue is the missing and murdered Aboriginal women in Canada. There's over 1,000 of them. What your government hasn't done anything in the past. What can you do now, especially if you form the new government? What can you do to help this, regardless of where that violence comes from? What can you do, and what will you do?
I wouldn't suggest our government has done nothing. We provide an awful lot of resources to First Nations community. We provide policing resources to First Nations communities. I mean, the RCMP released their report on the murdered and missing Aboriginal women, and over a 30-year period, it was actually 1,200 murdered and missing Aboriginal women, and 1,000 of the cases have been solved. So we know who the murderers are. I think moving forward, what our government has done is we've actually come up with an action plan to address that. And a lot of the victims have actually said, yes, that's a really good action plan. We don't believe that we need another study. We believe that we need an action plan. We believe that we need to be providing the appropriate resources so that the police can do their job. And the police are doing their job. And yes, my heart goes out. It's a terrible thing that's going on. And you know, it's crime against women. And you know, I speak from my heart when I say I care deeply, because I put forward a private member's motion on domestic violence, and it was unanimously approved in the House of Commons, and a study was done, and that report has been completed, and there's a number of recommendations in terms of preventing violence against women. And the reason I brought that forward was because in 2010, in Sault Ste. Marie alone, there were 1,250 reported cases of domestic violence in Sault Ste. Marie, of which 256 resulted in criminal charges. And we all know that 85 to 90% of that was violence against women. And it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable for First Nations. It's unacceptable here in Sault Ste. Marie. This is an epidemic it's across Canada. It's just not on First Nations. There's violence against women. It is unacceptable. And as an MP, I look forward to getting back to Ottawa to bring forward some of those recommendations to make sure that the government acts upon those recommendations that will benefit First Nations communities and all communities.
Okay. I implore you, if you do form the next government, please do as much as you can for just on this one issue.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now, what have you done in the last 4 years to make people vote for Bryan Hayes this coming Monday?
I've represented Sault Ste. Marie in Ottawa with the utmost of integrity. I have the ear of my cabinet. I have the respect of my colleagues. And I think that's important, and I think that's been clearly demonstrated by, people always put things on the dollar value of what you bring to a community. And I don't always look at it that way, but in fact, As a government, we've brought over $134 million in federal investments to Sault Ste. Marie. From the Port of Algoma, we're in phase 2 of that development, to the Sioux Armories, to $11 million for our Sioux locks. We're just at $134 million in investments that are job-creating investments. We see our Canada Customs Plaza. That's a situation where I fought very hard to keep the duty-free shop. And if you talk to the ownership there, they will tell you, as a result of my efforts, there's still a duty-free shop and save jobs. I worked very hard for that. And just if you look across the community, my staff have represented Sault Ste. Marie so well. They provide the utmost in constituency service. I'm very proud of my staff. There's nobody that can go on record as saying that I haven't worked hard for Sault Ste. Marie, that I haven't represented Sault Ste. Marie, and that I haven't represented my staff, haven't represented you. I work hard in Ottawa. It's a tough job, Mike. It really is. Ottawa days are 12 to 14 hour days every day, and coming back to the community, there's really no rest in the community, because when you're home that 1 week out of every month, you know, there's lineups of constituents that want to meet with you, and I accept that.
And media.
And media. And yeah, and I've never turned down a local media interview. And I trust that the community will understand how hard I've worked. Not only as an MP, but as a city councillor, as a former small business owner, as a financial analyst at Ontario Lottery, 10 years as at Ontario March of Dimes as a coordinator of financial services. People who know me, they know how hard I work, and they know I'm a man of integrity, and that's what I bring to Ottawa.
Okay, would you like to say something to your to the voters?
Sure. Tomorrow, Monday, is election day. I just want to thank you all for electing me in 2011. I assure you that I've worked incredibly hard on your behalf. I believe you've seen my work here in Sault Ste. Marie, and I just want to say that this has been just such an honor to be your member of Parliament. It's been an honor not only for me, an honor for my wife and my 2 adult sons. This has been the thrill of a lifetime. I have a lot of work that I still want to do for Sault Ste. Marie and for Canada, and I look forward to continuing to be your member of Parliament after October 19th. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Bryan.